a primeira mensagem que eu queria deixar para vocês é justamente essa aqui. Embora conte com o apoio do Consulado Geral, fundamentalmente essa é uma rede que vai ser desenvolvida entre as escolas. Então, assim, a gente vai tentar dar infraestrutura, vai tentar explicar, vai tentar orientar, mas a parte concreta, mão na massa, assim, quem vai conseguir identificar qual é o melhor projeto para desenvolver com qual outra escola do mundo são as próprias escolas, né? Não existe aí uma interferência nossa, a gente só quer ver vocês cooperando com o que melhor for para vocês. Então fica essa mensagem aqui que, embora tenha a participação, né, de um braço do governo brasileiro, é apenas como apoio e apenas como intermediário para vocês, não tem nenhuma orientação, nenhuma diretriz específica. Essa reunião de hoje vai ser bastante informal, tá? Não quero que vocês achem que vai ser uma coisa assim, super formal por ter diplomata envolvido, por ter o pessoal que trabalha com a área cultural e educacional sabe que a coisa é bem informal e é melhor que seja assim, né? Nós vamos... Bom, eu estou falando em português com vocês para dar as boas-vindas e para deixar vocês mais à vontade, mas a apresentação vai ser boa parte em inglês. Eu vou estar online o tempo todo, se alguém tiver algum problema pode escrever para mim no chat, ou pode, assim, me avisa que eu interrompo o Kian. O Kian entende português, ele fala português também, mas ele está tímido hoje, então, mas ele entende bem. Então, qualquer coisa que vocês queiram perguntar, ele vai entender e eu estou aqui para ajudar qualquer dúvida com a tradução. A gente vai começar, então, com a apresentação do próprio Kian e dos dois projetos. Vai ser mais ou menos uma hora e pouco, até 1h30 no máximo, porque a gente quer abrir um espaço grande para perguntas e respostas, né, para as perguntas de vocês, dúvidas, e depois para vocês fazerem network entre vocês e com a gente, enfim, com quem vocês quiserem. Kia, já posso começar? São 10h11, acho que já entrou todo mundo, e quem entrar depois, pega no caminho. Pode ser?
Obrigado, Daniel. Oi, gente. Meu nome é Kian, mas todo mundo me chama de Ciro. And that is all the Portuguese I will speak today. So, like Daniel said, I'm glad he kind of laid out the landscape. I just want to say welcome to everybody. We're very excited to have you. We weren't initially planning on bringing so many schools together to talk about our larger international schools network so soon. But however, because there was such a turnout and such a response from Brazilians, that we decided to just kind of go ahead and bring everyone together and talk about, as Daniel explained, to talk about two separate issues. And I will start out, I guess, by introducing myself. Other than my name, I'm born and raised here in Houston, Texas. And I'm a native Houstonian, and this is my home. And I'd love to have you guys connect with us and for our students to connect with you all. And we look forward to developing a really solid relationship moving forward. I'm going to take a quick pause and allow my colleague, April Hearne, to introduce herself from one of our partner organizations, Amigos de las Americas.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here today. As Kian mentioned, my name is April Hearne, and I am the Managing Director of Operations at Amigos de las Americas. I'm also from Houston, Texas, and I'm very much looking forward to partnering together. Hablo español, no hablo portugués, pero si quieren hablar en español, todo bien.
Conseguimos falar o portunhol muito bem aqui in Houston. So, well, thank you, April. I think we can just go ahead and kind of get started. We have a little PowerPoint to kind of serve as a guide as we speak, but we really want to, I see Flavio writing that, he doesn't speak English, but if I start speaking too quickly or if I speak too fast, or if you need something specifically translated to Portuguese, we would love to do that. So just go ahead and raise your hand, use the raise your hand function, and we'll stop and kind of see what you need at that moment. And if you have any questions, we really want you guys to get involved and to not, if you need to stop and ask us a question about what we're speaking about, please go ahead and do so. We'll reserve most of that time for the question and answer session when we get there. And afterward, once we get toward the final 30 minutes, I will provide another Zoom link where you guys can actually turn on your cameras and we can all come together and meet each other face to face, where we can begin to sort of get to know each other a little bit better. April, do you mind if we just kind of jump?
Só te interromper, só para contar para o pessoal, isso aqui, quem não pegou a informação, quando a gente divulgou a rede no Brasil, a gente teve uma felicidade muito grande de rapidamente a gente passar a ser o país com o maior número de escolas na rede, assim, de uma semana para outra. Por isso que a gente decidiu montar esse evento, né, esse webinar, para todo mundo estar mais ou menos na mesma página, como dizem aqui, né, todo mundo in the same page. Mas foi muito bacana a reação, a gente ficou muito feliz. E vamos lá, vamos apresentar para vocês entenderem exatamente o que são as ideias mirabolantes aqui do HSD.
Okay, well, some of you may have seen this quote before, others may have not, but I thought it was so relevant. I know my colleagues have heard me say it so many times, but here we are, a few people, a total of about 50 of us coming together to really impact the world. And it's so true when we say, the only way the world has ever changed is when a few committed citizens come together and try to change it. And if that sounds too ideal, that is one of my character flaws, because I'm an idealistic person, and I believe we will sort of have a huge impact on not just Brazil and Texas and the United States, but the rest of the world through our other partner schools across the other 6 continents. Well, excuse me, other 4 continents. I know in Latin America, that's an issue. 5 to 7 is we think we have 7 continents in the United States. Latin America, it's 5 continents. We could talk about that another time, but we can move forward with the So I'm going to begin, so you guys can see, Daniel spoke about it a little bit, but so you guys can see how the presentation will flow. We'll talk about the Global Education Development Initiative, which you know as the International Schools Network. And we decided to really call it the Global Education Development Initiative, and I'll talk about that fairly quickly, but we will have the opportunity to follow up on this topic, and we will do it in more international setting, where we will have representatives from all over the world join us to discuss this. And so please don't be discouraged if I move through it very quickly, because we would like to reserve the bulk of this time for the Classroom Community Impact Project, which is really something that comes from the Global Education Development Initiative. So you can kind of see an example of this Global Education Development Initiative and what it can do for us and for you. Then we'll move into a Q&A and the open network, and off to changing the world after that. So I'm going to start off with a few brief facts about Houston and the Houston Independent School District. So many of you may not know that Houston is the 4th largest city in the United States and the most diverse city in the United States, according to the 2010 U.S. Census. And we believe we will hold that spot when the 2020 U.S. Census comes out. And yes, we are more diverse than New York. We have over 140 languages spoken. And here are some critical facts that will be relevant to you as we move through the presentation, because they're such a key component of our strategy. Over $237 billion in total trade that has moved through the Houston region since 2019. 1,700 of our 1,700 of our companies here in Houston are owned by foreign owners, right? So that could be Brazilian, those could be Brazilians, it could be Dubai, it could be Europe. We have over 90 different governments officially represented here in the United States, of which Daniel and the Consulate General of Brazil is one. We have other diplomatic and trade offices as well too, and also over another key fact for the rest of Texas, and nearly $340 billion in statewide impact from the Port of Houston. So one of the largest shipping ports we have, and almost over 8,000 ship visits a year. And that's so critical because, in a sense, the Brazilian coast is closer to us and to the Gulf Coast. For those of you that aren't aware, Houston is right on the Gulf Coast, the Gulf of Mexico. And we are just a stone's throw away. We are closer to you all than we are to many of our own states. So that's something to consider in mind. And with Houston IC, we are the 7th largest school district in the United States. And you will also see this ISD at the end. It stands for Independent School District. That's how all school districts are referred to in Texas, not in the United States, just Texas. We have over 200,000+ students. We should mention that nearly half of those students are bilingual and also speak Spanish. Houston itself, as Daniel has become aware of being here, is a bilingual city. Everything is in Spanish and English. We have over 280 schools, 100 different languages spoken in these schools by our students and families, and we offer dual language instruction at 47 schools. So dual language instruction comes from Vietnamese, English, Spanish, of course, and we have Hindi and Arabic and French as well. Why we do not have Portuguese will be a topic of discussion as we move forward, as it is critical language. So I think that's a good at a glance of who we are and what we have to offer, which is something I'll talk to you about moving forward. To the next slide.
Ian, can I
Uh,
compliment one or two things?
absolutely.
Então, gente, só pra, a gente no Brasil, né, quando a gente pensa em Texas, talvez a gente fique com a ideia assim, não, Texas é o lugar do Velho Oeste, dos cowboys e tal, e não deixa de ser, eles são super apegados à cultura, tem rodeio, etc. Mas, assim, o Texas, ele é o... Para vocês terem uma ideia, o Texas é a décima... Se o Texas fosse um país separado dos Estados Unidos, ele sozinho seria a 10ª economia do mundo, né? Então, ele é... Por exemplo, o PIB do Texas ano passado foi de 1,9 trilhão de dólares, tá? O Brasil gira em torno de 1,4 trilhão. Então, o PIB interno do Texas é maior até que o do Brasil. E é uma área que é super desenvolvida em termos de petróleo e gás, super tecnológica, super desenvolvida. É um centro de referência médico, o maior hospital de combate ao câncer do mundo está aqui. Também é um centro de pesquisa espacial, né? Houston tem a NASA, enfim, vocês imaginem que a parte de pesquisa aeroespacial aqui é muito forte. Tudo isso para dizer assim que o Texas é um estado de ponta aqui nos Estados Unidos, que está crescendo muito, é muito tecnológico, e é muito bom a gente ter esse contato agora com a parte das escolas do Texas, e não pense assim, mas é o Texas, é super diferente, é super mais rico, etc. Não, eu estava dando uma olhada nos dados aqui do distrito, né, da HISD. Então, por exemplo, tem 61, quase 62% de alunos hispânicos, 22,4% de afro-americanos, cerca de 60, me corrija se eu estiver errado, tá? Mas são por volta de 60%, 65% de alunos com dificuldades econômicas. Então, assim, vocês não imaginem que é o distrito escolar dos ricos e famosos. Não, eles enfrentam aqui as mesmas dificuldades que o Brasil enfrenta, claro, mais recursos, mas, enfim, dá para ter um diálogo super produtivo. Sorry, Kian.
Oh, I think that all of those is very relevant, and this is a lot of these facts are what Daniel works with every day. And quite frankly, I don't think it's for me to say that the Brazilian history and American history has a lot of similarities in terms of social and race relations and economic wealth gaps. And so you will see school districts like Daniel mentioned. It's a little bit way. It's about 75% are considered economically disadvantaged, and that is actually another point that we will use.
Before you continue, people are complaining that your audio is not that good because it's echoing a bit.
Oh, now.
Does it sound better right now?
Much better now. And okay, so someone is asking me here that since he's not fluent in English, from time to time I would stop and make a comment upon the things you're presenting, so I can do it, no problem.
Sure, guys. Please.
I'll try to do my best, Flavio.
Yeah, please stop me, because the most important thing is that everyone understand what I am saying. So, and I've been told that my accent is sometimes I speak too fast by people who are learning English and can't really understand. So please do stop me. And one note to all the universities here that are professors and otherwise, you are not left out of this initiative. In Houston ISD, we not only have vocational and technical programs and other academic programs for students that are up until 18 years old, but we also have strong relationships with universities, not only here in Houston, but also across the United States, including our Ivy League universities. So we make these connections for our students, and many of us serve on university boards and have partnerships and formal arrangements with universities. So if you're a university professor, don't feel left out. We got a lot of good stuff for you guys as well too. You all are very critical to our project. So. And we decided to include this slide because this word is very critical. I got a lot of questions about how this will be. How is the International Schools Network going to work? What are the goals? And so I really want to take a moment to just read this definition, because I will use this word often throughout the presentation.
Aqui no Brasil, aqui no Brasil, aí no Brasil, a gente normalmente chama isso de movimento de base, né? Que é aquele movimento que é da comunidade para cima, não o governo fazendo um movimento para baixo, é um movimento de base. E o que o Kian tinha comentado antes, para quem não entendeu, é que assim, aqui o pessoal tem muito contato também com universidades, né? Alguns membros do HSD são membros de conselhos de universidades. Existe uma preocupação muito grande sempre de manter essa fluidez entre high school e o nosso ensino médio e a universidade. Então, se você que está nos ouvindo aí é um professor universitário, não se sinta muito deslocado, que vai ter interesse para você também.
Okay. right? So let us talk about this initiative, which is a grassroots initiative. This is not an initiative backed by large money at the moment. This is not an initiative backed by any one single organization. This is a collection of people coming together to really address the value gaps that exist globally. And that's what we want to talk about and what your role is in this initiative. So it's an open network. Our network is your network. When we ask you for information, for example, your LinkedIn profile or other information like such, we will be absolutely open, obviously with respect for people's privacy. We will be absolutely open with any information we gather because our information, our resources are your resources. And that will be the power of this network. And I'll talk about it a little bit more as we move forward. So let us start with a quick vision and mission of what this initiative is, right? We're really looking to create an engine of sustainable development. And sustainable means that, it's not dependent on any one funding source. It's not dependent on any one initiative or any one individual. Coming together, we create the dynamics for it to sustain itself, to develop global education, and in a way that is powered and governed by local interest and stakeholders, which includes you. Back to that grassroots theme. And also the way we intend on doing this is developing this grassroots network of global education focused on creating value through mutual support and strategic alignment of our organizational interests. And I'll pause there for a quick translation.
Então tá falando da visão e da missão, né, da rede de escola, rede internacional de escola, que é criar um mecanismo de desenvolvimento sustentável em educação global que possa ser, enfim, fortalecido e governado pelos próprios agentes locais, né? Ou seja, quem vai decidir ou quem vai fazer essa rede funcionar ou não, etc., vai ser vocês próprios das escolas que vão poder entrar em contato com gente de outros locais do mundo e identificar iniciativas, ver como é que... Por isso que, assim, para quem for cuidar da rede diretamente, as escolas que se interessarem, seria importante ter um certo domínio de inglês, porque afinal de contas é a língua. Ou não, de repente, se você for falar com uma escola na Colômbia, no Paraguai, etc., pode ser em espanhol, enfim. Mas é bom que tenha alguma língua comum entre vocês, né, entre as escolas. E a missão é desenvolver esse movimento de base, né, essa rede de base de agentes da educação, para criar, enfim, resultados de valor por meio de um apoio mútuo e de um alinhamento estratégico com os interesses da organização de vocês. E tudo isso para dizer o seguinte, a rede vai ser a plataforma, vai ser o instrumento, né? Ela não vai ser o objetivo final, ela não é um objetivo per si criar a rede, né? A rede é o canal por onde vocês terão facilmente informações sobre outras escolas no mundo. Mais para frente, eu acho que vai ficar mais claro exatamente como é que isso vai funcionar, mas deixa aqui assim.
So allow me to kind of really talk about our three main initiatives. I will actually focus mostly just on the first two, networks, partnerships and development. We can talk more about international curriculum at another time, but really when we talk about our networking, there are a number of things that come to mind. We go student and faculty networks between our students and between our different faculty. That could be professors, that could be teachers at the middle school, secondary level, at the primary level. We have we develop professional learning series where we learn more about how education in Brazil is delivered and how education in the United States is structured and how education, for example, across Latin America or the Middle East or Europe or any other part of the world is structured, because as we become more aware of what's taking place, we then understand how the best way to partner with these organizations. And that's something that kind of leads into the partnerships and development. And I have some slides right after, so we'll move right into it in the interest of time, so we can have time for networking and interpretation. We'll kind of go to the next slide. But these are our three main objectives that we're focusing on. And I put here a definition of network because this is where the value of a network comes in, really. When you build and maintain relationships, and it's this second part that's more crucial. activities of individuals or organizations by voluntarily granting access to resources and maximizing common advantage. That means that if you have access to me, you also have access to HISD resources, and vice versa in our network. That's essentially what we're trying to accomplish here with this network. And we'll again dive into that more deeply. Now, I kind of want to open this one up to the group so everyone can get involved a little bit. I don't know, Daniel, if you want to kind of interpret what I mentioned about the network or in the definition. Or...
então, acho que está ficando... one question here, Kian. Essa apresentação depois pode ser compartilhada com o pessoal da rede? Acho que sim, né? Não tem maiores... the PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we will.
Vai sim, Maria Cristina, obrigado.
Sure.
Não, então, sobre a rede, a ideia é que vocês, quando tenham contato, participando da rede, tendo contato com outras escolas, vocês vão ter acesso não apenas às escolas, mas a materiais que, eventualmente, essas escolas disponibilizem. Por exemplo, alguma escola no Brasil pode ter um material excelente para lidar, por exemplo, digamos que seja uma escola na Amazônia, aí talvez esteja sendo muito arquetípico, né? Vocês me corrijam. Mas tem algum material interessante sobre plantas tropicais, alguma coisa assim que outras escolas não tenham, pode ser compartilhado esse material. Mesma coisa com quem tem acesso à rede, tem acesso aos materiais que a HISD aqui produz. Então, enfim, você, a partir desse material, você pode adaptá-lo ou usá-lo tal qual ele exista, e você vai identificando, uma espécie de inteligência comum, né? O pessoal do mundo inteiro produzindo suas áreas de especialidade e compartilhando aquilo que tem. Um pouco de raciocínio normal de rede, né? Quando você participa de uma rede, você está ali fornecendo o que você tem e recebendo o que você não tem, de forma que todos possam se aprimorar.
So, agriculture. I guess I will open...
Can you start with questions or later on, Kian?
Please, go ahead.
There's a question from Jussara. Se essa apresentação vai estar disponível, Jussara, a gente pode mandar para todo mundo que está na rede, que está no grupo. E se if this network platform is only for Houston District, or there is other schools from Texas, like Piano District in Dallas. It's actually worldwide, isn't it?
It's worldwide, and that includes the rest of the United States. I think one of our goals is also to connect our large districts and cities like Los Angeles, New York, Houston, with the small cities across our how would you say pueblito? Our pueblitos in Texas, like a small village.
Povoado.
There you go.
Jussara, no momento, assim, eu não tenho informação, não acho que o Kian tenha também, se especificamente esse distrito já tem alguma escola participante da rede. Porque depende da escola se inscrever, né? Mas a chance é grande, porque o pessoal aqui é bastante motivado para a participação nesse tipo de iniciativa.
Yeah. So you will be connected with New York, Los Angeles. If there are any other specific school district you want to connect with, just let us know and we'll connect with them. Yeah. So that includes Plano.
She's asking about Plano. Plano is in Dallas.
Dallas, I'm very well of Plano. It's a very small city north of Dallas. Yes, the answer to that is yes. So in agriculture, can I just open up and you guys can type in the chat, or you can really raise your hand and we'll let you speak. Why would agriculture be the first revolution in information technology? And information technology in terms of the rapid spread of information from one human being to another human being.
Pode participar aí, pessoal. Essa pergunta para vocês. Por que a agricultura é a primeira revolução tecnológica em termos de tecnologia da informação? Alguém arrisca?
We'll wait. We'll do the teacher. We'll wait and let's see if anyone can offer any.
Vocês podem falar em português também, se souberem, mas...
Yeah.
Uma boa resposta aqui. Everyone must be fed. First question. Good answer.
So, really, it comes down to the fact that when human beings really were able to engage in agriculture and farm different, agricultural products, that then allowed them to stay stationary in one place. Right?
Carol Belo ganhou o pirulito aqui, ela acertou, porque permitiu que o homem se fixasse no local onde vivia.
Yeah, and by being stationary and staying in one location, more human beings were able to live together, which means the population density increased, and allowed for the rapid spread of information from one human being to another human being, for ideas to be examined more quickly, to either be rejected or accepted more quickly. And this allowed human progress in human society to progress much more quickly than as we were as nomads. And the reason I mention that is this is a form of agriculture, what we're doing today. We are cultivating ideas, minds, and a mechanism to create value for all of our different organizations. By coming together and speaking to each other, our ideas get spread more quickly. We have access to each other's resources, and we become more aware of what we are all doing, which then allows us to work more quickly and more efficiently together. And that is why I brought that up. And anybody who is interested can really find this book. It's called The Logic of Human Destiny by Robert Wright, where that is spoke about. Now, the extrinsic value of education and networks. I'll also open this up to our guests if they would like to answer. Why do we offer our students education?
Para quem não pegou a pergunta é por que a gente dá educação para as crianças ou para os estudantes em geral?
What is the goal of education?
Qual que é o objetivo da educação? I think people are shy. Vocês podem responder em português.
I've never met a shy Brazilian. Maybe I can. Nossa, galera. Did I say that right? Nossa, galera, vai falar.
E a pergunta é: alguém interessado? Bom, segue aqui.
To change the world. Absolutely. To share knowledge developed by humanity. Absolutely. And, one thing I would really say is if we break it down to its smallest term, the most basic building block, education is designed, is a means to an end to create more opportunities, right? You graduate high school so you can expand the set of opportunities available to you. You go to college so you can expand the set of opportunities available to you, whether you want to be an entrepreneur or a computer scientist or increase job opportunities. Every step along the way you put in is designed to increase the set of opportunities available to you. Now, that being said, I want you to keep that in mind, because if education is a means to an end, what is a network? And what end is a network seeking? Is it seeking to expand your set of opportunities and the opportunities of your students? Or is it simply to get to know other people? And I think the way we are framing it is the network is the learning and the network is the opportunity. So that's something a concept I want everyone to keep in mind moving forward, and what the value of a network is, not only for us, but for our students when we connect our students in Houston ISD to students in, Rio de Janeiro or Sao Paulo or wherever it may be. They now have expanded their opportunity set because they know people in Brazil that have similar interests. They've developed a relationship through a program they were all in. And that's something that is a huge focus for us. And what I have here is the opportunity cost. Since networks expand opportunities by keeping small, narrow networks that don't go beyond your day-to-day life, you are really shortchanging yourself, because the cost of not expanding your opportunity is unknown to you. It's unknown had you not met Houston ISD and been here today, what you will get out of it. And we do have some things to offer that I'll talk about here in a moment, immediate things you will get out of coming to this webinar. So I would like to kind of keep that in mind as we move forward. Daniel, do you want to kind of touch on what I mentioned, or?
Só para fazer um pequeno resumo, assim, o que o Kian tem defendido, enfim, com muita propriedade, é que assim, a rede não existe para você conhecer outras pessoas, ponto. Não é para isso. Assim, é claro que isso é interessante, legal, mas ela existe para que você identifique e tenha acesso a outras oportunidades para os seus estudantes, né? Fundamentalmente, resumindo todas as definições aqui que o pessoal comentou de para que a gente educa alguém, e eu gostei muito de uma resposta que agora eu perdi quem respondeu, que falou change, e é exatamente isso, você sai de um estado para outro, um estado de conhecimento, um estado de oportunidade, e o importante dessa rede é aumentar esse potencial de oportunidades. Que oportunidades? Potencialmente infinitas, depende de que escolas você vai entrar em contato. E fundamentalmente é isso, a rede não funciona para a rede, né? A rede funciona para os estudantes, no fim das contas, né? Para vocês identificarem o que de lá pode aumentar as oportunidades para os estudantes. One question, Kian.
I see it for both.
Yeah,
Os dois.
Os dois, claro, perfeito, claro.
Talvez para todos, because, and for our students specifically that are economically disadvantaged, Daniel, connecting them with other students is increasing their personal wealth, right? And that's the same thing for the students in Rio that are, or in Brazil that are economically disadvantaged. And that's something, you know, I want to come across as well. So for our students and for our professors and for our organizations and for us personally.
Exatamente, Virginia. A rede depende de que uso você vai fazer dela, né? Ela em si, ela é digamos, a ferramenta, né?
Yeah. And we really look forward to bringing you in with the rest of. We have a lot of schools from the Middle East and Sub-Saharan Africa in our network, and we're currently working on Europe and other places across the world. And the United States and Canada is very easy for us to get those schools, so those schools as well also. Okay. So a note about partnerships and how we will, and I'll go through this very quickly, and really what we try to do with partnerships. And when we come together as the Council, the Global Education Development Initiative, and we are all working together, I like to call it the 3E approach, where we enlighten each other on what we are working on. We become aware of what it means to be Houston ISD and what it means to be, you know, a public school in Brazil, where your funding comes from, how, you know, what challenges you face, and what needs you have. Then allow us to say, okay, well, we meet these other partners. We have these other organizations that are doing this, and we need that. We want to partner with them. So you experiment, you see if the partnership works, and if it works, we work with you to make that partnership last beyond the people who created the partnership. So that means 5 years from now, we embed it in the enterprise or into the institution that you're partnering with. 5 years from now, when Tito, Daniel, and April, and Daniel, whom we'll introduce shortly, are not here, this initiative still exists, and it is working by itself and is not tied to any one single human being.
Então, resumindo aqui, a aproximação de 3 S, eu não vou tentar traduzir para todos os S em português, porque eu não vou conseguir, mas é justamente para criar essa consciência, né, dos diferentes tipos de organização e dos diferentes interesses das organizações escolares ao redor do mundo, explorar quais são os benefícios mútuos com esses parceiros, e o mais importante, talvez, é que isso não fique dependendo do professor A e o professor B na outra ponta, ou eu aqui em Houston, ou o Kian na HSD. Uma vez que se explore essas potencialidades, que você identifique parcerias, que forme as parcerias, que isso seja institucionalizado. Porque depois que eu não estiver mais trabalhando aqui, ele não estiver mais trabalhando aqui, ou que o professor A ou B não esteja mais lá, a parceria já esteja rica e desenvolvida o suficiente para que possa dar continuidade independente das pessoas especificamente, né? A gente tem muito isso no Brasil e em outros lugares do mundo também, mas a gente é muito personalista, né? No Brasil, o professor fulano, a iniciativa é do professor fulano. Embora, claro, que seja importante de início, no médio e longo prazo é importante que as instituições conversem entre si, porque não passa a não depender da pessoa, né? De novo, isso tudo nós estamos pensando na rede assim, como um todo. Ele está falando aqui, por exemplo, no médio prazo, de 5 anos, mas o mais importante no momento é vocês entenderem, acho que os dois primeiros conhecer as outras instituições, como é que é organizado, que interesses, porque às vezes a gente está acostumado com o jeito brasileiro de pensar a educação, mas tem milhares de jeitos no mundo inteiro que podem trocar experiências positivas. E acho que é isso.
Who's Professor Fulano? Oh, that's a joke. Okay. So, good. We can move on to, all right. So when I mentioned earlier, all those stats and statistics about Houston's economy, there was a reason, because this comes down to the development part of our partnerships and development of the council and what it means to really develop and offer value to every single member of the network of the JEDI or the Global Education Development Initiative. So there are some things I want to talk to you about in concepts that some of you may be very familiar with, others may not be. corporate social responsibility and the triple bottom line are two concepts that are very relevant to the private sector and business. Um, uh, Daniel, are these easily translatable into Portuguese?
I'm not so sure.
Okay. So let me talk about what it is. Corporate social responsibility is essentially a way for corporations to govern themselves, though now it's more
É.
in
A gente tem em português, né, o termo responsabilidade social das empresas, né? Por exemplo, eu me lembro de uma reunião que eu tive com a Vale do Rio Doce, a Vale, né? Vale do Rio Doce denuncia a minha idade. Com a Vale, em que para eles fazerem determinado estrado de ferro, eles tinham que desenvolver as áreas, área de preservação, área de desenvolvimento social, etc. Então a gente tem isso para as empresas. Assim.
Right. And so it's very related to the triple bottom line, which is people, planet, profit. And the idea is that a fraction of your profit as a multinational firm is designed to give back to the community. Both essentially capture those concepts. And those are two pieces of corporate governance or private practice, business culture here that we will leverage in helping to develop not only Houston ISD, but your schools as well. And I can give you a great example of that right now. Right after I mentioned to you about what multinational firms and foreign direct investment looks like from Houston to Brazil. So this data comes from up until 2019, pre-COVID. We have about 30 multinational firms do business in Brazil from Houston, invest directly in Brazil from Houston, and about 15 firms from Brazil to Houston. And I've listed them here for you so you can see what the industries and the businesses are that are doing business between Brazil and Houston. And these cities go everywhere from the cities in Brazil are Sao Paulo, there's, of course, Rio. We also have, I'll give you some of the smaller cities very quickly. Campinas.
Not small at all.
That's not small. And we also have, smaller than Rio, right? Jacarai.
Só para mencionar, né, vocês são empresas brasileiras que estão investindo aqui em Houston e empresas daqui que estão investindo no Brasil. Sem mencionar aí, tem duas grandes, super conhecidas de todo mundo, né, que é a Petrobras na área de óleo e gás e a Tramontina. Tramontina, nossa fábrica de talheres, etc. Tem uma fábrica aqui em Houston.
So when we talk about our multinational firms and why this is important, they have interest in the things that we do. And when we work together and we want to create a partnership between, say, a school in Houston and a school in Brazil, when we approach them together as a group, as a team with a plan, this is what we want to do, they are going to be much more inclined to work with us, especially if we align our initiative with their corporate social responsibility or other, efforts they have to help their societies, the society around them here in Houston society. So that's the general.
No Brasil não tem tanto essa tradição. Vocês que trabalham direto na ponta aí, que estão nos ouvindo, me corrijam, por favor, se eu estiver errado. Existe uma tradição maior aqui nos Estados Unidos, mais fixa, de empresas privadas, setor privado, investir em iniciativas sociais, porque essa parte da responsabilidade social deles é muito forte aqui nos Estados Unidos. Então, o que o Kian está explicando é que assim, uma escola brasileira que eventualmente estabeleça uma cooperação com a escola de Houston pode receber diretamente esses investimentos, porque é parte da parceria. Né? É uma coisa um pouco menos fluida, até onde entendo. Não é tão comum investimentos da iniciativa privada diretos assim, numa escola.
Yeah, and I will clarify that the companies you see here are not the United States to Brazil. It's just Houston. Mm-hmm. Just to show you that we are a global city with a lot of resources available to us, and by coming together, we will maximize our access to those resources.
Isso. Só para deixar claro que essa quantidade de empresas aí é só de Houston, tá? Não é Estados Unidos inteiro.
Yeah. And so right now, before I hand it over to Amigos for you all to talk about the community, for them to talk about the community impact project, I really want to talk about Amigos de las Americas and what an amazing partner they have been for our district and what amazing partners they will be for you as well. From every person that worked on that team, to the work we've done together, it has been not only how should I say gratifying, but it has changed a lot of lives. They have funded many of our students to go, travel abroad to Latin America and work on service learning projects and work with other students and families that live in Latin American villages. And working with them is precisely the kind of partnership that allows us to create value for the folks like our students that have been economically disadvantaged or left out, as well as for your students and your faculty moving forward. And it's just a great example of everything we've been speaking about. And now we are going to shift gears. We will talk about, I will mention before I send it over, after the Amigos presentation, and Daniel, this is important to translate. After the Amigos presentation, I will provide another link to an open Zoom meeting where we will all be able to turn on our cameras and speak freely and meet each other and talk more about the topics that were brought up today.
Kian, just for me to understand, this link will be sent by here or by email or by what? Here in the chat?
I will send it here and in the WhatsApp.
Ok. Então, pessoal, é o seguinte, a gente agora vai passar para a apresentação do terceiro tripé, a terceira organização que está nessa iniciativa, que é a Amigos das Américas. É uma organização sem fins lucrativos, super tradicional, que trabalha justo... Bom, não vou dar spoiler, vou deixar eles se apresentarem, mas só para vocês entenderem que então é o terceiro pé dessa parceria, Consulado, HSD e Amigos das Américas. Depois que terminar a apresentação da Amigos das Américas, o Kian vai mandar aqui no chat do grupo e também no grupo do WhatsApp um outro link de Zoom. E aí a gente vai poder abrir as câmeras e falar e vai poder ter uma interação bem mais fluida. Kian, I don't know if you want to answer the one question we have here before that. Anderson pergunta qual a contrapartida, se a escola pode receber formação nessa rede. Eu entendo, Anderson, adiantando um pouquinho a resposta, que depende de qual parceria, com qual escola você vai fazer, mas eu vou deixar o Kian responder. So what's the schools they receive some kind of formation, some kind of training?
So no, remember, let's go back to that word grassroots. And so getting involved means simply being present. And what getting involved means will take shape when we are all together and present, right? Mm-hmm. So if you recall what I said about agriculture, it's important for us to not be leaders of this initiative. Mm-hmm. And the leaders will be you, Anderson, and others who come in and work with us and shape the work.
Entendo, Anderson, que assim, você pode receber alguma formação, possivelmente você vai receber a formação, por exemplo, se você combinar com outra escola no mundo. Olha, eu vou formar vocês nisso, vocês vão... É uma rede, né? Quer dizer, não existe embora a HISD e o consulado aqui estejam em parceria monitorando e ajudando vocês, não é uma assim, daqui ensinando ninguém, não tem um centro essa rede, né? É um movimento de base, quer dizer, escola para escola. Aí, dependendo do que você combinar com a outra escola ao redor do mundo, você pode receber essa formação ou não, mas aí é caso a caso, de escola para escola. Então, vamos lá. A gente vai agora falar do Amigos das Américas e depois a gente vai passar um link aqui no chat, também no grupo do WhatsApp, para quem preferir. E aí sim vai ser uma sala aberta, com as câmeras ligadas e todo mundo interagindo.
So I see there's another question. Let me make one more point. So those that come to the Zoom meeting will then be invited to a LinkedIn. So if we see you, your name matches who you are, and this is very important for us to maintain a quality network, right, that has benefit for everyone. We will invite you to a LinkedIn group for faculty members or for other international educators so we can all connect on LinkedIn. And that is designed to maximize the impact of your connection. And if you do not have a LinkedIn account, Daniel, I'm not sure how big LinkedIn is in Brazil, but if you do not have a LinkedIn account, I would encourage everyone here to create one if you want to gain the most out of knowing teachers all across the world and other educational stakeholders. So that final piece, and then I'll pass it to you.
José Elisomar, desculpa. Quer dizer que o intercâmbio será entre escolas com objetivos afins? Exatamente, Zé Leomar. Por exemplo, você identifica uma escola, não sei, no Marrocos, que ensinou sobre preservação de recursos hídricos, de água. Teve um curso especial sobre isso. Você vai lá na rede, vai estar lá o nome do contato, o nome da escola, qual o e-mail dele, e um breve resumo de quais são as áreas de cooperação da escola. Aí você fala, poxa, eu queria saber como é que esse pessoal fez esse curso de preservação. Será que é interessante para a minha área aqui no Brasil? Vocês vão entrar em contato, as escolas, e combinarem como é que vocês vão fazer. E a HSD vai estar, assim, se você precisar de algum apoio, além da própria plataforma, que vai mostrar essas informações sobre as outras escolas do mundo, a gente pode dar o apoio necessário, aí, não na ponta, né? Não na cooperação em si, mas no entendimento, no contato, etc. Então é isso, vamos para... Tainara, onde é que você encontra essas informações? A gente pode explicar daqui a pouquinho, você tem que se inscrever na rede. E aí depois a gente explica exatamente como é que faz. So, some people are asking, Kian, how do they get all this information about the network? You've got to like enroll yourself in the network. So you can maybe send the link later on.
Well, the first way to enroll yourself in the network is to complete that form that we mentioned. So kind of do this one. Let's do this sentence by sentence so I can then give it to Amigos, and we'll talk about the network later.
Okay. E só uma última coisa que eu esqueci de traduzir. O que ele falou do LinkedIn, gente, é o seguinte, né? Porque eu acho que todos conhecem o LinkedIn, que é uma espécie de um Facebook mais profissional, né? Onde você coloca seu perfil profissional, sobretudo. E o que o Kian falou é para quem não tem perfil no LinkedIn, ele encoraja muito que as pessoas façam esse perfil e coloquem direitinho as suas informações e a área que trabalha, o tipo de coisa que opera, que é muito mais fácil você identificar professores do mundo inteiro por lá. Amigos, sorry, I took your time too long.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and start answering some questions in the chat while they have some good questions in the chat. I'll answer them while Amigos is presenting. And I encourage everyone to really listen to, because this is an amazing program. If it was not an amazing program, we would not be here. And on that note, I'm going to pass it to April and Miss Danya, who you have yet to meet.
Thank you, Kian and Daniel, for the warm introduction, for those kind words about our program. Likewise, we're extremely excited to be here today with you all, and extremely hopeful about the partnership that we can build together. So I'll give a little introduction on Amigos. We're a nonprofit organization, a youth leadership organization based in Houston, Texas. And our vision is a world where all people are lifelong leaders sharing responsibility for our global community. And in that vein, our work is really to bring young people together and to help them to learn about each other, themselves, and their community through service and through cultural exchange. So we've been around since 1965, and we've worked in over 17 countries throughout Latin America and in the United States, Brazil being one of them. And our work is based in partnership and in collaboration. So in that vein, we're extremely excited to build something here today with you all and in our work with HISD. So now I'm going to pass the baton to Danya, to my colleague Danya, who's going to introduce herself and then talk a little bit about the outcomes that we see in students who join Amigos programs.
Hi, everyone. My name is Danya Kachko. I work in admissions at Amigos, which means I work directly with incoming students and families. I've also been an instructor in our virtual programming and have been working on the curriculum for the Classroom Community Impact Project. And I want to talk a little bit about the components of an Amigos program and what students take away from participating in Amigos. So you'll see here that our programs and our curriculum, really focus on language and cultural immersion, mentorship, community service, and reflection and community engagement. During our program, students work together to design projects. They practice their communication with their peers from other places in the Americas, and fundamentally, they get out of their comfort zone and do something new. And through this curriculum, and as importantly, with their connections with their mentors and their peers, some of the skills that students walk away from Amigos with include an increased appreciation for diversity, commitment to equality and social justice, and skills in planning and decision making, and the ability to mobilize their peers around a shared goal. As Amigos transitioned into virtual programming last summer, we found that students continue to have these takeaways and build the same kind of skills after leaving our programs. And we really believe that we can have the same sort of impact through the Classroom Community Impact Project.
Dando uma pequena resumida aí para o pessoal que pode ter perdido alguma coisa, né? Então, a ideia dos amigos é focar muito na ideia de impacto na comunidade, né? Então, é tirar os estudantes da zona de conforto e colocá-los como pequenos líderes das suas comunidades e por meio de voluntariado, assim, desenvolver projetos que impactem a comunidade de onde eles pertencem, né? E aí desenvolve, né? Questão de liderança pessoal, de competências culturais, de engajamento com a comunidade, etc. Então, amigos, já é uma coisa mais mão na massa, perto na região da escola de vocês. Vocês vão ver nos próximos slides aí que está em desenvolvimento um estudo sobre currículos que facilitem, que ensinem justamente a importância desse impacto na comunidade. Sorry, Dani.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're here today to talk about the Classroom Community Impact Project, which is a novel initiative between a school in Brazil, Amigos, and the Houston Independent School District. But before we get into that, I wanted to mention that we do have many other programs throughout Latin America and the United States. And that Amigos is also part of the Youth Ambassadors Program, which is a virtual exchange offered to students in many countries in Latin America. Amigos administers the exchange in the countries listed here. So if anyone is interested more broadly in Amigos programs, you can learn more on our website, and we will send out these slides afterwards for anyone who's interested.
Então é isso. Esse slide mostra alguns programas que eles têm para 2021. Estados Unidos, Equador, Nicaragua. Dania, so you can have actual exchange, I mean, apart from COVID? Or it's
yes.
like...
Dania, go ahead.
No, yeah, that was the question. Okay,
Sorry,
so
the question is if you can
there's actual exchange. I mean...
Actual exchange?
Okay.
We will be having exchanges this summer, yeah.
Post-COVID.
So we have in-person and virtual options this year during COVID.
Então era isso que eu mesmo estava com a dúvida e tirei com elas. Então tem programas tanto de intercâmbio virtual quanto presencial. Tem os estados aqui, os países, perdão, que esse ano tem disponível. Eu acho que a ideia é que num futuro próximo a gente tenha com o Brasil também. Entendo que sim, né, April e Daniel? The idea is in the near future we can have Brazil among these countries.
Yes, that and we will be working with Brazil for this Classroom Community Impact Project, which we'll talk about here in a moment.
E quem quiser mais informações sobre o Amigos, está aí o ou Amigos International, .org, tem o site deles lá para vocês conhecerem mais sobre as atividades.
Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about the Classroom Community Impact Project, which is a pilot program starting this spring that will connect students in Houston and Brazil. And I'd like...
Just for them to understand. A gente estava falando então da rede de escolas, né? Agora, dentro do monte de coisas que está acontecendo, o Amigos está desenvolvendo um projeto específico de desenvolvimento de projetos de impacto dentro da sala de aula. Então, assim, dentro do monte de coisas que a gente conversou, essa é a segunda parte da palestra que a gente vai falar desse projeto especificamente. Todos convidados a participar da Network. Esse aqui vocês vão ver que é um programa um pouco mais limitado e que demanda um pouco mais. Limitado no sentido de focado.
I think the best way to let everyone get a feel for what this program is all about is through a video. So I'm going to play that video now.
the Community Impact Project is a
interesting experience in which you learn about your communities in general.
It really makes you think about what your place is in your community and what you can do to help your community.
Where you're able to create your own community service project. So I think the program does a really good job going into the details and really leading you on the way to get to where you want to be.
I think I just enjoyed learning about the people in my cohort, and we talked about multiple issues in our community that I probably wouldn't have talked about otherwise, and they just really opened my eyes and really challenged me.
I definitely enjoyed the language cafes. I think that was a lot of fun. You talk in Spanish, you learn a bit of Spanish.
Pura vida. En Costa Rica usamos pura vida casi que para todo. Para agradecer, para saludar, pura vida.
We did jokes in Spanish.
¿Cuál es la fruta más paciente? Espera.
Welcome to this CIP Cooking Challenge!
Yay!
Welcome to presentation day. I'm so proud of you guys, and you guys should all feel so proud of yourselves to see how far you've come. So I'm very excited about the possibilities of you guys continuing your projects in the future. I think you guys will do great.
Okay, so that was a window into the Community Impact Project. This is a program that we started when the pandemic hit, when virtual programming was our only option. And a few hundred students have joined this program and had an experience much like what you just saw. And we're thrilled for the first time to bring this program to the classroom. So what we will do this spring is collaborate with a school here in Houston and a school in Brazil to bring Houston students and Brazilian students together to share an experience much like what you just saw.
Like April said, we're really excited to build this partnership and facilitate this exchange between students in Houston and students in Brazil. The Community Impact Project is really an opportunity for students to meet each other, create a network, much like Kian was explaining earlier, and for them to learn more about their communities, exchange ideas, and the whole project culminates in each student creating and designing their own community service project to implement at home. And so, through that project, students really build communication skills and leadership skills. Some activities that students will take part in include a design sprint, which is kind of like a case study where students will collaborate to solve problems and design solutions in a short amount of time, building their skills in project management and just working with others, especially others from another country. They'll explore and write about their own communities through a local community narrative, which means that they'll write about their communities and, the really great things about their communities, as well as problems or issues that they'd like to address. And like I said, the culminating part of this project is creating this service project, and they will present that project to local professionals on a panel. So not only will they build project management skills, but they'll also have the experience of presenting their ideas to professionals in Houston and potentially in Brazil as well. I see that two people have raised their
Yeah,
hands.
we got some.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll go with Sandra. Go ahead. Guys, we'll let them speak if you'd like to speak. Sandra had her hand up first, though.
Sandra, acho que você pode falar inclusive em português que a gente traduz. Ou em inglês, se você tiver.
You are.
I guess your mic
muted.
is.
Okay, we'll go to Tainara.
Hello, Sandra. Hello, Tainara. I think your mics are off. Do we have to allow you to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Go on, Sandra.
Boa tarde a todos, eu sou Sandra, de Barra do Bugres, Mato Grosso, e eu trabalho aqui em uma escola pública. Estou bem entusiasmada com o projeto, né? De saber mais sobre o projeto. É muito bom essas parcerias, conhecer sobre outras culturas, ver o que está dando certo aí, né? E que a gente pode, de repente, incorporar aqui no nosso ensino, né? E também colaborar com alguma coisa que já funciona aqui, que de repente possa ser de interesse nas outras escolas mundo afora, né?
Você tem alguma pergunta, Sandra? Só queria mostrar o interesse.
Não. Eu não.
Tá,
eu
ok.
levantei a mão, foi sem querer, perdão.
Foi, não, mas a gente agradece a sua participação. Qualquer dúvida que você tiver, você
eu
fala com a
apertei sem
gente.
querer.
E eu gostei muito disso que você falou mesmo, assim, né? Não é só receber o que é legal de outras escolas, mas oferecer também, né? Uma rede tem que funcionar assim. Tainara, dúvida?
Vocês estão me ouvindo?
Perfeitamente.
Thank you, Sandra, and thank you for speaking. We encourage more people to speak. We would love to hear your voice. Question or no question?
Pode falar, Tainara.
Vocês estão me ouvindo?
Perfeitamente.
Ah, tá. Ok. Não sei se eu tento falar em português ou em inglês. Vamos lá. Eu tenho projeto. I'll try in English. So I have a project here that's called Virtual Exchange. It's an extension project. So I have a student who is running this project, and we have people from 6 different countries in the world, like people from Afghanistan, Libya, or Czech Republic, a lot of countries. And we are trying to run this project, but we don't have any arrangements with any institution. We just have people, like we don't have any connection with any school, and we really would like to have this. So I think maybe this could be a good way to do that. Do you think so?
Yeah. Let me jump in, Barry, there, because yes, Tainara, it is, and we actually have something else for you where you won't need the specific schools necessarily. It's a paid platform that, as I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of influence with multinational firms, and we have a paid platform you can use that they've offered to anyone in our network. So we can talk about that in the open networking section in terms of getting partnerships with schools. But if you're offering a program like that, this program that Danya and April are speaking about, the Amigos Community Impact, it's the ideal kind of partner we will be looking for, since you already have that kind of experience. So yeah, and we'll talk about more. I'll talk to you more about what I mentioned in the networking part.
Nice, thank you.
Obrigado, Tainara. Shall we? There's one more question. Can I open up?
Let's. Is it related to the Community Impact Project?
Yeah, não. Jusceli, sua pergunta é sobre esse projeto de impacto na comunidade? Se não, peço para você esperar.
Sim.
Então, vamos lá.
A minha dúvida é o seguinte: nós temos eletivas na escola, trabalhamos com eletivas, com clubes. Estão me ouvindo?
Sim, perfeitamente.
E uma das eletivas trabalha só aqui da região amazônica, de Rondônia, tá? Que é a floresta amazônica, e nós trabalhamos com o professor de geografia, trabalha com eles plantando horta, trabalha solos, os tipos de solos daqui, e as plantas típicas daqui. Eu não sei se isso daria um projeto legal para a gente compartilhar, eu gostaria da opinião de vocês. E temos também os clubes de dança, de teatro, não sei se isso pode ajudar e contribuir. Eu na verdade, seria tradutora de tudo, né? Mas eu acho que talvez possamos contribuir. Só isso.
That is precisely the kind of information we would want to have, not only to partner with us, but to partner, for example, with a school in Ethiopia or a school in Europe, because they will be aware of what you're working on and you will be aware of what they are working on, and you will find the perfect partner. But yes, we will talk to you more about how to partner with you in the open network section. For the remainder of this session, let us focus on the community impact project, because this is precisely what the network we're talking about leads to. And we won't be able to do these kinds of projects without organizations like Amigos. Any other questions related to the larger network, we'll discuss in the open networking portion afterward. Daniel, if you can let them know that as well too.
Ok. O Kian está só comentando o seguinte, que a gente vai focar agora, então, nos próximos minutos, né, no projeto de impacto na comunidade, esse que passou o vídeo recentemente, e que colocou, resumindo basicamente o que a April falou, ele surgiu na época da pandemia, da necessidade de permanecer tendo cooperação, e tinha que ser virtual por causa da pandemia. Então, esse projeto colocou em contato estudantes do mundo inteiro, e, enfim, eles puderam desenvolver juntos, se conhecer, desenvolver habilidades não só de comunicação, como de liderança. Tinha alguns exercícios de resolução de problemas. O projeto final foi o projeto final de entrega era para desenvolver um projeto que tem algum impacto direto na comunidade. Enfim, então foi uma experiência muito interessante. E esse ano, a HSD quer o Brasil uma escola brasileira fazendo parte dessa iniciativa. Essa, então, não será uma iniciativa para todas as escolas inscritas na rede, porque ela exige um pouquinho mais não só de dedicação, como um perfil específico de cooperação. Mas aí eu vou deixar aí para falar um pouco mais.
Daniel, quickly, can you talk about...
Daniel? Okay, so Daniel.
Daniel, can you quickly mention, because a lot of the questions are... There we go. Perfect. In terms of who we're...
Sorry, Kian, I didn't hear that last part of your question.
It does. You're on the slide that I'm exactly about to ask about, so you're okay. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So to get into the logistics of this program, it will run from April 12th to June 2nd, and the times for the program will be Mondays and Wednesdays, 2 to 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, or GMT 5, and Fridays from 10 to 10:50 a.m. And the Classroom Community Impact Project will be comprised of different types of activities. So there will be synchronous activities, which means that students will be kind of in a more traditional virtual classroom setting with an instructor and other students. And that's the blue portion in the schedule that you see at the bottom of the slide. There will also be asynchronous time. And so this is time where students will be working either independently on an assignment or digging deeper into research for their project. During this time, they might also be meeting with other students. Maybe they want to collaborate on their project. They might be meeting one-on-one with mentors. So in this community impact project, students will have a cohort director, which is kind of like the main instructor, but they'll also be meeting with a mentor that's specifically assigned to them to help them create their project. And this mentor is really there to support them throughout the whole experience.
And so, just for me to understand, it's the 3 sessions. I mean, it's Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. It's and, not or.
Correct. Yes, okay. It's all of these days and times.
Não, o pessoal que se interessar em participar desse projeto, vai ser de 12 de abril até 2 de junho, esse projeto que a gente chama de Spring, que vai ser primavera, né? segundas e quartas. Os horários todos que vocês estão vendo aí, para vocês entenderem o horário brasileiro, vocês somem 2 horas. O que hoje, hoje é 3 horas, mas a partir de sábado a gente entra aqui em horário de verão, adianta 1 hora. Então, segundas e quartas, das 4 às 5h30 da tarde, e sexta-feira, de meio-dia até 12h50. Os alunos participarão e você tem que ter um mentor, né? um professor que esteja coordenando junto com eles para ajudar no desenvolvimento das atividades. It's a mentor for the group, not for each student, isn't it?
What's that? That's just for the students. This is for the students in the program, right?
Yeah, okay, but it's one mentor for the group, not for each student.
There are 2 mentors per group, yeah,
okay,
and they'll meet individually with the students. Mm-hmm.
They'll meet one-on-one with the students, yes, Daniel. Yeah. That's why it's such a great,
Great.
I will say, so just Danya, just so to pique their interest, I will say that, Daniel, if you can mention to them that this program typically costs about $1,200 per student in the summer. Mm-hmm. And Amigos is doing it for free with us. Now, not for free. They're not charging us or the Brazilians. They're working with us as part of the dynamic that I mentioned earlier with the International Schools Network. So they're aware that this is a quality program that a lot of people pay. They have maximum enrollment every summer. So I want them to be aware of that. I think that's important.
As pessoas interessadas em participar de um programa como esse aqui nos Estados Unidos normalmente pagam cerca de $1.200 para um programa como esse. No caso, o Amigos está oferecendo sem custo nenhum, nem para HISD e nem para as escolas no Brasil. É gratuito. Só tem que preencher esses pré-requisitos, né? Disponível nos horários que eu mencionei no slide anterior e mais esses que estão aí na tela que a April vai falar, a Dani vai falar para a gente. Just so answering Karin, I think it's just one school. And it's 8 to 12 students between ages 14 to 18. But I'm jumping up.
No, that's correct. And in this first pilot program, we are looking to partner specifically with one school. And our hope is that in the future, we can expand that to more and more schools.
Yes. To add to that, we're just really inspired and motivated to create these partnerships with HISD and a school in Brazil. And so these are the details for participation. We'd like to work with one school and be able to connect with 8 to 12 students from that school between the ages of 14 to 18. All of these students will need to have access to the internet and a webcam for video calls. So ideally, they would each have, their own personal device to be able to access the Classroom Community Impact Project with. And these students should be able to communicate effectively in English. And again, they would need to be available during the program times, which are April 12th to the June 2nd, Mondays and Wednesdays, 2 to 3:30 Central Standard Time, and Fridays 10 to 10:50 Central Standard Time.
Então, resumindo, é uma escola só que vai participar dessa primeira etapa. A ideia é que nos anos seguintes a gente consiga ampliar para mais escolas brasileiras, mas nesse projeto piloto vai ser uma escola só. A escola precisa selecionar 8 a 12 estudantes, entre 14 e 18 anos. Eles têm, obviamente, que ter acesso à internet e à webcam para poder fazer a participação no contato com os outros estudantes e ter que conseguir se comunicar em inglês. O effective ali não precisa ser uma fluidez perfeita, tá, gente? É só a habilidade de se comunicar, um básico, intermediário, por aí, para que ele tenha um nível de interação com os outros estudantes. E as datas a gente já tinha dado, mas enfim, é de 12 de abril a 2 de junho, nos horários. Depois eu passo de novo os horários para vocês com horário de Brasília para ficar mais fácil. Mas é segunda e quarta, de 4 às 5h30 da tarde, horário de Brasília, isso tudo. E sexta-feira, de meio-dia a 12h50.
Great. So I will just let you know how to apply if you're interested. So you can visit this link, and the deadline to apply for your school is March 18th. The chosen school will be notified on March 23rd. It's been really lovely to be able to talk with all of you, and I'm really looking forward to working with you and your students.
Kian, temos uma pergunta aqui da Roberta, se todos os institutos podem indicar alunos. Na verdade, vai ser selecionado uma organização, uma instituição só. Mas nesse primeiro momento, como é que você quer combinar aqui? Quem estiver interessado se inscreve, depois você faz uma pós-seleção?
So are you about to mention how to apply? Did you mention that already, Donnie? Because
that's the question. Na tela aí nós temos a data para as instituições se inscreverem. A inscrição é no máximo até quinta-feira que vem, dia 18 de março. E dia 23, o pessoal vai avisar qual escola foi selecionada. Então, eu entendo que sim. Todos que tiverem interesse podem se inscrever, mas apenas uma escola vai ser selecionada nessa primeira etapa. De novo, a ideia é que quanto mais, esse é um projeto piloto, quanto mais sucesso acontecer nessa iniciativa, em anos seguintes, em estações seguintes, momentos seguintes, poderão ampliar para mais escolas.
And those of you who are interested that don't get selected, we will still pair you with other schools to work on different exchange programs. And we have a lot of cool curriculum and platforms to share with you and your students. So don't be upset if you don't get selected for the Community Impact Project. We're just looking for something for a good fit and one that works well logistically. I know someone mentioned time zones, and that's very important. So we're really looking for a committed group, one teacher or one staff member that's responsible for the 8 to 12 students that will really, really buy in with us and work with us, have the teacher work with our teacher, and really just help us connect our students and move forward in this project with Tanya and
Algumas pessoas estão dizendo que não dá para acessar o formulário, o pessoal da Amigos falou que já vai consertar isso. Muito bem, agora a gente abre para perguntas. Shall we go to the open floor? Or still questions here?
Let's do some questions here. If anybody has
Então, antes da gente abrir para outra sala, onde todo mundo vai poder interagir, alguém tem alguma pergunta no momento sobre esse projeto temos uma raised hand. Mônica.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. My question is about that form, the first form you put on for us to assess. My question is, I am in the group in the WhatsApp, and I'm not sure because I fill so many forms. I think I already did that form. My question is, if I was contacted to get in the Zap group. So if I was contacted, this means that I filled that form or
Isso,
no?
Mônica. Aquele questionário que você respondeu, formulário, perdão, significa que você já está inscrita na rede, tá?
Okay.
Todo mundo que está no grupo ali do WhatsApp foi incluído exatamente com os dados daquele formulário. Am I correct, Kian?
I missed what you said, Daniel. Sorry, I heard her question. I thought you were answering it. Go.
Yeah, my answer was yes. I mean, if the person has already answered the form, it means it's already in the network.
Yes, but there are a lot of problems with the data on the form because many of you who are in the WhatsApp group are tied to the name included on the form, which is not some of you who are in the group, right? So we're gonna have to clean that up because remember, if we want this network to work for everyone and to be a quality network, we have to be open, transparent, and make sure that we represent and we present this with quality and fidelity to everyone else, right? And that responsibility is not just mine and Daniel's, that responsibility is every group member's responsibility because any resource we have, you all have as well, right? So what's ours is yours and vice versa.
Yeah, and so are you going to send any instructions on what has to be corrected, or?
I will take care of all of that. Yeah.
Então,
I will follow up. Yes.
Isso. Então, o pessoal que está no grupo do WhatsApp é porque já está na rede. As informações estão um pouco truncadas porque algumas pessoas preencheram o nome da escola, algumas pessoas preencheram o nome pessoal. Aquele formulário não tinha um espaço para e-mail, foi uma lapso nosso. Mas a gente vai vai entrar em contato com vocês para corrigir direitinho as informações, mas uma vez que você já tenha preenchido aquele formulário, sim, você já está na rede. Depois a gente vai só enxugar e aperfeiçoar exatamente as informações da rede para que fique tudo padronizado e que os outros países possam entender, etc. E aí agora está no chat o formulário não para a rede, mas para o projeto específico junto com o Amigos das Américas. Karine, as características importantes para ser selecionado, eu acho que basicamente é aquela disponibilidade dos horários, você ter um mentor que possa coordenar o grupo, 8 a 12 estudantes, e que eles tenham um nível de inglês suficiente para poder interagir. Não acho que exista um tema específico, não, Maria Cristina. O interesse aqui é justamente estimular a cooperação e identificar quais temas comuns. Anything else, Kian? I'm answering by you. I'm doing.
No, I'm sorry. I was setting up the room. I thought you were. Was there?
Yeah,
Was
I'm just answering people here that there's no specific theme on the neither on the network nor the Amigos initiative. I mean, the idea is to get people in contact and then find the themes.
Well, I talked about.
Am I wrong, April?
No, you're not wrong, but I talked about 3 strategic priorities.
Yeah.
Those are essentially the themes, but we're going to give everyone the opportunity as we learn more about your education systems. That may change. The themes may change, but we need to know more about what's happening across the world so we can decide which direction to take the network. Right.
One other question, why not picking at least one school for each region in Brazil? We would love to, I think, but it's just not possible for now, isn't it?
Right. For what? For the Community Impact Project?
Yeah.
Yeah. We wish we could. We really wish we could. But unfortunately, we right now, this is a quality program for a small group of kids. They get one-on-one guidance and mentoring. They get to meet a lot of different folks. They'll have guest speakers. And the more people you have in one group, the less intimate and less impactful it becomes. And also, we do not have enough mentors and teachers for a large group like that. And remember, keep in mind, this is a quality program where all the mentors get trained before they work with the students. All of the folks in the program have been trained and gone through professional development before they work with the students. And it's just been an amazingly successful program based on how Amigos has delivered it in the last year or so.
And to add to that, es un, ¿cómo se digo? Es un proyecto piloto, ¿no? So we'll do it once, with one school, and in the future, our hope is to expand to many more schools.
Eu comentei, Gutenberg, obrigado pela sua participação. Por a gente na verdade faria com não só uma de cada estado, mas com bastante escolas. É super do interesse da gente. Só que isso é um projeto piloto, então a gente vai ver como é que funciona, o que deu certo, o que não deu. Os recursos ainda estão limitados, mas quanto mais der certo, mais isso pode ser ampliado em futuras oportunidades.
And the Brazilian school that ends up participating in this, you're going to then have that experience and that knowledge, right? That you can then share with your school and the rest of the Brazilian, network. So a big part of this is a transfer of knowledge and experience where we learn from each other. Keep that in mind as well too. So, because we want what we learned, we share with the rest of the network. Because it's not about any one of us, it's about all of us. And a lot of us are far behind and some of us are very far ahead. And those of us that are far ahead need to help the ones that are behind catch up. And we do that with our resources and our experience. And really open arms.
Respondendo a Sandra, ela pergunta aqui, né? Ainda que nossa escola não seja selecionada, ainda continuamos colaborando? Sim, nós estamos falando de 2 projetos. Né? Tem a rede, que todo mundo está convidado a participar, e quanto mais escolas, melhor. E aí você vai identificar na rede escola ou escolas com as quais você queira colaborar. E a seleção aqui vai ser, no caso, só para esse projeto específico da Amigos das Américas. Mas para a rede todo mundo participa.
Any other questions? Can I get a raise of, if you're interested in the program, just raise your hand for a moment. Just click the raise your hand just so we can take a poll.
As representantes das escolas aqui que acham que estarão interessadas na Amigos das Américas, né, que exige aquele número de estudantes e disponibilidade de tempo, horário, etc. Por favor, levantem a mão. Só para a gente ter uma noção de quantos estariam, em princípio, interessados.
We're referring to the Community Impact Project.
Estamos aqui falando não da rede como um todo, mas do projeto de impacto na comunidade.
Amigos das Américas.
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay, Flavio. Tá bom, Flavio. And just keep in mind, March 18th is the deadline.
Lembrando, assim, para todos os interessados, é bom que a gente saiba aqui a quantidade, se confirmem direitinho até dia 18 a inscrição, tá? Quinta-feira que vem, uma semana exatamente.
He's making fun of my accent.
Flávio, o Kian só sabe falar português das ruas, só gíria.
Sem falar português de quê?
Das ruas, streetwise português.
Das ruas. Right. What does enturmar mean?
You get along quickly with Brazilians speaking streetwise Portuguese.
So those of you that are interested, I think, I know a lot of you need to confirm it with your school. Danya and April, that's what a couple of them were saying, that they need to check with their, I guess, administrators, the equivalent of the administrator, to see if they can participate. I tell you, if you are interested and you want to participate and you're waiting for approval, it's okay. Just go ahead and fill out the form and let us know in the form that you're interested, but you're waiting for approval. Is that doable based on how the form exists, April? Okay.
Yeah, and I would add that we'll follow up. Couldn't we, Kian, are we able to follow up with an email?
Oh yeah, we're going to follow up with
okay.
all. Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if anyone has any questions, Danya and I are available. Estamos disponibles para contestarlos.
Então, só esclarecer, se você está interessado, mas não tem certeza se a sua escola vai poder participar, se o diretor vai autorizar, etc., pode se inscrever também e depois, na hora da seleção. Ali, in the form, can you specify, April, if they're still waiting for approval?
There's a question for any other information, and if they would like to add that there, that would be fine.
Então, no formulário tem uma área para informações adicionais, então vocês podem colocar isso. Olha, estou interessado, mas aguardando a aprovação da minha diretoria, enfim, etc.
Okay. Well,
okay, Israel.
Israel, that's funny. So I am going to go ahead and paste the link to the open networking room that I mentioned. Those of you that come and join us, we will share a LinkedIn group invite with you all to join us on LinkedIn as well too. And there, Danya and April and Daniel will be there with us. And we can talk about anything you'd like to talk about. You could talk directly to Danya, directly to April, or to myself or Daniel, or to each other. And so that being said, there is the link. Thank you all for...
Está aí no chat, pessoal, o link para a nova sala do Zoom, onde vai estar todo mundo com o microfone aberto, câmera, e a gente vai poder interagir mais diretamente e informalmente.
And I will also, if somebody could copy and paste that link into the WhatsApp chat room and let them know in Portuguese that we will all be here.
I'll do it.
Okay. And with that said, Danya and April, do you have any final words before we switch over?
Just thank you. We appreciate everyone's interest, and we're excited about working together.
All right.
I echo that. Thank you so much.